All right, I would like to call this meeting to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mrs. Becker. Mr. Cummings.
Here.
Mr. Goswami.
Yes.
Ms. Guas. Mrs. Herrick.
Here.
Mr. Hung. Dr. James.
Oh, here.
No, here.
Say here.
Here.
Mrs. Reese.
Here.
President Lax.
Here. We have a quorum. Please rise to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the rights of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the East Brunswick Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the East Brunswick Board of Education offices. Written notice was also provided to the Sentinel, the Newark Star Ledger, the Home News Tribune, the Alternative Press of East Brunswick, and the Municipal Clerk of East Brunswick. All Board of Education meetings, with the exception of executive session discussions, are videotaped for later broadcast. It is the policy of the Board of Education that videotape meetings are not edited for any purpose. Individuals who speak at the board's public meetings should be aware of these videotaping rules. Good evening to our early birds. Whereas the Board of Education must discuss matters which are not appropriate for discussion in a public meeting, and these subjects are within the exception to the Open Public Meetings Act and are permitted to be discussed in closed session, the Board of Education intends to discuss matters as follows. Those items listed on tonight's agenda. The length of closed session is estimated to be 1 hour, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and action will be taken. Now therefore be it resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Education will recess into closed session for only the aforesaid subjects, and be it further resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Education hereby declares that its discussion of the aforesaid subjects will be made public at a time when the public's interest in disclosure is greater than any privacy or governmental interest being protected from disclosure in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Lori. Motion by Mrs. Herrick, second by Mrs. Reese. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you so much. We will see you in an hour. Okay, welcome back. Dr. Valesky, would you like to start us off, please, with the superintendent's report?
Thank you, President Lax. Good evening, everyone. Memorial Elementary's reading specialists, Catherine Lahaki, Christina Thomas, as well as third grade teacher, Nicole Casal, organized and hosted Memorial's very first book swap event on Wednesday, June 12th. Students donated over 1,800 gently used or new books for this event, ranging from young children's board books to chapter books, graphic novels, and picture books. All 461 students were able to choose 3 books to keep and read over the summer. The day was so exciting, and students recognized their favorite titles, characters, and authors. The celebration ended with all students designing their own bookmark, mapping out their summer reading plan and how they would enjoy these new books. It was such a special day for Memorial readers, and they are looking forward to doing it again next year. Congratulations to our May High School Athletes of the Month. Students were selected for this honor by the coaching staff based on performance, demonstration of leadership, effort in practice, and of course for modeling exceptional character. By now, everyone is aware of the East Brunswick High School Yearbook investigative findings reported yesterday. The full redacted report and associated exhibits are available on the homepage of our website. Many of our EBHS students, Muslim, Jewish, in fact, the entire student body, were impacted by hateful rhetoric and baseless accusations directed at them following the senior yearbook distribution. The facts are detailed in the yearbook investigative report, and I want to reinforce to the East Brunswick community that no students, and I repeat, no students were responsible for any of the findings contained within. And I want to take this opportunity tonight to offer an apology to the East Brunswick community for what this situation has caused, and especially offer an apology to all the students at East Brunswick High School for what this situation has caused them and how it impacted the end of their school year. We must all be part of the solution to repair the deep hurt and division that has been created in our school district and community. And as adults, we all accept responsibility to build a better tomorrow for our children. I just hope that we can all pledge to do that for them. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Valesky. Moving on to people that actually do a lot for our children, we have a resolution this evening of appreciation for our Parent-Teacher Association. Whereas our PTA spent countless hours supporting our 11 schools and more than 8,300 students, contributing greatly to their school communities and helping promote a positive school culture. Whereas our PTAs fundraise extensively so that they may gift technology and playground equipment, fund mini grants to teachers, provide scholarship, and so much more. And whereas the PTAs generously arrange for and fund special programs, authors and illustrators, music and dance, history and science assemblies, and workshops that enhance and enrich the learning environment for our students. And whereas all those involved in our PTAs are wonderful examples for our students modeling good citizenship and the importance of doing one's share to make the world a better place. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Education gratefully acknowledges the incredible support of the PTAs and their dedicated service and devotion to students and staff. Thank you to Bow Monroe PTA and President Cheryl Koniezenk, I apologize, Cheryl Konie, thank you. Central PTA and President Courtney Blumig, Chittick PTA and President Gunjab Nadial, Churchill PTA and President Jamie Wasserman, East Brunswick High School PTSA and President Rachel Van Wagner, Frost PTA and President Kim Gramadsky, I'm butchering everyone, I'm so sorry. Hammersholt Upper Elementary School PTA and co-presidents Mary Ann Tanyos and Christine Grossman, Irwin PTA and President Nada Soda, Lawrenceburg PTA President Sarah Brandon Grable, Memorial PTA and President Caitlin Mendez, and Warnsdorfer PTA and President Melissa Fairstein. And be it further resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Education would like to extend a very special thank you to the President of PTA President's Council, Jamie Wasserman, who has supported and encouraged the PTAs in all of their efforts. May I please have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Guas, second by Mrs. Herrick. As I said earlier, the PTAs really are our biggest supporters. You have a lot of PTA moms up here, present and past, and we can never thank you enough. I know my time on the PTA, and I see one of my cohorts there who I had a lot of fun at Memorial with, is really special to us and really special to the kids. So I'm going to ask if any other board members and my PTA moms want to make some comments tonight. Mrs. Reese?
Just a quick extra thank you. I definitely echo what Ms. Lax has said, and you know, without you, without the PTA moms, dads, grandparents, all the PTA families, we wouldn't be able to have the schools that we do. So thank you so very much for what you do, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Mrs. Dr. James, yes?
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say thank you so much to all the PTA leadership that we have here. I really know how much work it is to be part of the PTA, and it's, you know, it's truly a thankless job, and you do so much, and you really deserve this recognition. And I wanted to say also that fellow board member and I, Lori Herrick, are really excited to be bringing back the board PTA liaisons, and we'll be getting to go to your meetings and listen to you and take notes and bring things back. And so we're just looking forward to seeing you, and thank you so much. And I hope you have a well-deserved restful summer break before you get into those August planning meetings.
I just wanted to say, as being back in an elementary school as a PTA mom and looking at the yearbook that my daughter just came home with, it is amazing the amount that the PTA does over the year and does so seamlessly. You know, going back through the ice cream socials and the trunk or treats and the parties and the amount of joy the kids take, and even, you know, the clap out that happened and the number of PTA representatives that were there. And even the assemblies, just the amount that the PTA brings to the school is amazing, and the parents that are taking care of doing it, not just PTA moms, but the parents that are taking care of doing this, which just greatly appreciated what's done with volunteer time, so thank you.
Mrs. Harris?
I'll just echo what everybody up here has already said. As a PTA parent and a parent, right, we all just work to do the best that we can at our schools, tirelessly, make it look effortlessly. We go off like sometimes without a hitch, covering all of the little things that happen that we didn't inquire, such as our DJ not coming to our Churchill event this year. And we just had amazing staff and parents that jumped in and did the job instead. So, you know, this recognition is for every parent, every PTA parent that works hard and just gives back so much to the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
And just an extra special shout out to Jamie Wasserman.
Yes, you got,
I mean, she's amazing. She's probably going to kill me for saying this because she doesn't like attention, but she's fabulous. She's so dedicated. She is everywhere at all times, and she gets things done, and she's such an impressive and kind person. So I just, we go back to Frost together, so I just want to thank her for all the years of dedication and that she's still involved. So thank you, Jamie.
yes, and actually, Heather, I am going to take exception to something you said, the thankless job. I will tell you, and for some of you younger parents, one of the coolest things is when you get to graduation and you see kids that you had in elementary school. And I got to shake hands yesterday with kids I haven't seen since they were in 5th grade, and that was a beautiful thing. So there is something beautiful we get out of it, but we can't thank you enough, honestly. And I'm going to ask the board members who is in favor of this resolution this evening. Is there anyone opposed? Didn't think so. Abstentions? Okay. Motion carries. If I could ask the PTA representatives that are here this evening to meet me at the bottom of the stage, I would love to give you your resolutions. Okay. Some of the hardest working people in the district, year after year. Okay, we are at the good of the cause for the public. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. To protect the privacy of all students and staff, concerns regarding individual students and staff members should generally be addressed by first meeting with the appropriate administrative staff. In order to permit the fair and orderly expression of such comment, the board shall provide a period for public comment in every meeting. We are limited to a 3-minute duration. The board secretary will keep the timing, and I apologize, last time I tried to be a little bit loose with that, but in fairness to everyone that would like to speak, I am going to ask this evening, please, if you could keep your remarks to 3 minutes. And remember always, it is the time to speak to the board. Anything that needs follow-up, we can find my ladies in the back. We'll make sure your information is left with them, and they will get back to you. So that being said, if you'd like to come and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Dominic Sclafani, 2 Morgan Place. After hearing about the countless stories and times the board clearly did not adequately address and combat Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, I thought I'd share how you've done the same thing regarding ableism. In 8th grade, I was put in a special ed writing class, and the teacher was so mean that I cried multiple times and begged my counselor to remove me from that class. And I wasn't removed until November of that year. Once I asked a clarifying question, and she went, "Well, if you were listening, you wouldn't have to ask the question." In 9th grade, we read Of Mice and Men, and the teacher made it clear the N-word must not be used when reading in class, yet the R-word is also in the book. And when I asked the special ed teacher if we could also refrain from using that word, she said, well, it was appropriate for the times. She also had me read as Lenny, the disabled character in the book, for those who don't know, the chapter He Died, and when asked why she had me read, she said, I thought you'd be good for the part. In 10th grade, a kid threatened to beat the shit out of me for being autistic, on Autism Awareness Day nonetheless. And the only reason it was handled correctly was because Mr. Hannes and Dr. Figueroa handled it. In 11th grade, the blood drive at the high school did not let me donate blood because I'm autistic, since they didn't think I was fully aware of what I was getting myself into. And the administration was siding with the blood drive people. It only got solved when my parents threatened a lawsuit. In 12th grade, I went to the administration saying supplemental instruction was hurting the mental health of special ed students, and I was told I had to advocate more to the teachers and that it wasn't going anywhere. I cried the last week of school because teachers were still overworking us the week I graduated. I can't even count the numerous other times people have made fun of my tics or have said offensive slurs towards me, and yet nothing was done to educate students on students with disabilities because it just wasn't in the curriculum. I was so depressed, and the only reason I'm still alive today is because of that man right there, Dr. Lou Figueroa. Many of you know me personally, so the next time you say you're happy to have me around, I want you to remember that the man who saved my life is getting fired without cause by you. Now you have Mr. Juliana, who has thrown special education under the bus and even used an outdated and offensive word to describe the disabled community. And he gets a raise, while the only assistant superintendent who gave a damn about the disabled community is getting the axe. It would seem you are unable to combat hate. Thank you.
Thank you, Dom. State your name and address for the record, please.
Jack Levitt, President of the East Brunswick Education Foundation for Springfield Road. For those of you who are unfamiliar with EBEF, and I hope it's not too many of you, we're a community-based organization, a 501c3 nonprofit that issues grants to administrators and teachers for things that aren't included in the school budget that will enhance and enrich the curriculum for students in the district. Our charter is very clear. We don't fund things that should be handled within the school district budget. But I'm here to share that our grants committee strongly recommended that we make an exception to the rule. Knowing that there's a significant budget shortfall and that the yearbook oversight has caused tensions in the district and this town to hit crisis levels, they suggested to our membership, who wholeheartedly agreed, that we make some grants available to help fund some of the training that Dr. Valesky promised the community. Thank you. However, the board has called for tolerance training. We don't believe that this should be the goal. We're willing to consider grants for diversity, equity, and inclusion with the goals of empathy and building acceptance. Tolerating each other just isn't going to achieve that. It's just going to be pretending it's not there. So we're hoping to see a lot of these grant applications over the summer, and I hope you find a way to take advantage of this one-time exception to our rules for the right reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levitt. Hi, if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Donald Simons. I live at 2 River Road in East Brunswick. I'm here to question your transportation. As of Tuesday of this week, the 18th, you have a school bus that the bus driver refuses to put the amber lights on for 200 feet. He didn't even put it on when he's making his turn from Main Street onto River Road. Back in October, a dump truck ran into the back of a school bus that was picking up students on River Road. I called your transportation department at least 6 times. Nothing was done. I called the bus company up. Nothing was done about the bus driver. I mean, I called Dr. Lesky's office. I know they called the transportation. What's being done about it? You're not doing anything? I mean, you got students whose lives are at stake on a school bus, and the bus driver's not even going by the state rules.
Thank you. Mr. Simons, if you could leave your information and also the name of the bus company, I would really appreciate
Well,
it.
it's First Student Bus Company. That's what it is.
I'm sorry?
It's First Student.
Okay.
And I called their office. I talked to the dispatcher, and they passed me on to the supervisor. And the supervisor told me that your transportation, the woman in charge of transportation in East Brunswick, was going to be at the bus stop. And Friday, I did look Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. She didn't show up either one of those days. So I don't know what kind of people you got working for you, but I think that you got students. You said 8,000 some odd students in the schools. How many of them take school bus rides? How many bus drivers aren't paying attention and jeopardizing their lives? That's what I want to know. I don't have any more grandchildren in school here, but my neighbor has 2 kids. One of them was almost getting on the school bus that was hit by a dump truck. I turned around and I got a hold of the county, and the county's going to put up a school bus sign for River Road on Main Street coming in off Bordentown Avenue. So because you got 2 townhouses and one of them's blocking so they can't see when they're making a right-hand turn. And I don't know if anybody knows it, but technically, by law, any vehicle is supposed to stop 35 feet either in front of the school bus when they're parked or 35 feet in back of the school bus. That's the state law. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simons. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Jennifer Figueroa, 101 Ruse Lane. In regard to the yearbook incident, I question the authenticity of an independent counsel that has had such an extensive previous relationship with the board. Also, it is my understanding that there was no money given to equity, diversity, and inclusion training for the past 2 years, and no money was allocated for next year. Yet, you now claim that tolerance programs will be implemented. Why is it that something so detrimental needs to happen before you realize the value of such programs? And who will be leading your diversity, equity, belongingness, and inclusion programs now that Dr. Figueroa is gone? Lou, as this is your last meeting as an East Brunswick employee, I want to thank you. As a teacher and a mom, I want to thank you for your never wavering decision for what's right and your passion and dedication to the students. You are an unbelievable role model, and your absence will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Figueroa. Hi, if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name's Tom Sclafani. I live at 2 Morgan Place in East Brunswick. I wasn't at the last meeting, but I kind of watched it on YouTube, and I guess I have a question for you. You mentioned that you were going to look into something for my son in the last meeting on an apology. I just wanted to know if you came up with anything. Did you look into it?
Sure, yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure for the letter of the law. My apologies. Yes, so I have asked for the review of the tapes because it's concerning, and I understand your son's question about whether or not labels that were used, which are detrimental labels. My recollection was that it was used in the name of a school, and I am trying to find out whether or not that is the case. I have not gotten that information. I apologize. It's been a little busy here, so I do not have the answer to the question. I can tell you, and I promise you I have not forgotten, if it was used in the wrong context and in a way that would be offensive to any students, adults, anyone in the community, then you will absolutely have an apology from me. But my apology right now is, unfortunately, I do not have the answer based on the last 2 weeks. But I give you my assurance. And if you would like afterwards, I will even give you my cell phone number, and you can text me, and I will give you the answer the moment I have it.
I'll give you mine right now, and you could text me.
Okay.
All right, 732?
Don't give it
Oh,
over.
yeah, you know what?
It's recorded. Don't do that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Just to protect
before we
yourself.
leave.
Yes.
All right, okay.
The women in the back, if you could see one of them and give them your
But
shot.
Mr. Scalfani, I did take it very seriously when your son said it, and other members of the community
sure-
asked the
I'm sure you
question. So please don't mistake my not having the answer yet for the fact
Fair
that I
enough.
am not truly invested in what the answer is.
Fair enough. And I just want to, I guess one other thing is, just listening, it sounds like through the independent counsel that nothing was really found. Am I correct? On the yearbook? Am I correct?
There's
This
not
isn't
a back and forth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
All right.
apologize. It was confusing because they told me I was allowed to answer your question.
Because I'm just curious if it came out, and I might have missed it, who did do it?
The report is available.
It is? Okay.
Online.
Thank you.
And actually, as I say, if you'd like to talk to the women in the back there, because
Sure.
if you'd like to leave your cell phone with them, and also they can help to get you to where the report is available, so that way you
Appreciate
can
it.
get the answers.
Thank you.
Sure. Hi.
Mark Sismar, 100
Thank-
Fresh Ponds Road. Let me help you out real quick. Bernie Giuliani at the budget hearing, April 25th, 2024, at the 36-minute mark, quote unquote, the private schools for the handicapped set rates. Took me about 2 minutes to find it. Now I'll do my speech from tonight. I had to put that in there. Some concern. President Lax and the entire board, we know it's not your job to run the district, but it is your job to ensure that the district is run well. Newsflash here, it's not being run well. Large venues like this used to be for the staff recognition, student awards, not because of the poor leadership from Dr. Valesky and the entire board. It's caused these meetings to grow larger and larger. The worst inflammatory statement I've heard here is the board allowing Dr. Valesky to use intimidating language by saying, if you want to run with the big dogs, you need to come off the porch. To me, that sounds like a drunk in a bar challenging somebody to a fight, not language that should come from a superintendent. And let's list some of the things the board has allowed the superintendent, the outsider, to do. Let's say the budget cuts are going to have minimal student impact, but let's cut the head of student activities and service, Dr. Lou Figueroa. I'm sorry, Dr. Valesky, you won't be able to come close to doing the job he did. Allowing an outsider to tell a female resident, go find the audit yourself. How about just tell her how your team made a $3 million mistake? Allowing the superintendent to maintain an atmosphere of low morale for staff, creating fear for staff to speak out due potential retaliation. Allowing an outsider to delay and totally screw up the referendum that was supposed to be done by March of 2024, all while wasting tax dollars, probably hundreds of thousands, on outdated plans, students in trailers for 2 years and counting, no redistricting, and reckless spending over the 2% cap. The board allows an outsider to create chaos, not calm, putting our students in harm's way by refusing to tell the truth about the yearbook 2 weeks ago when you had it. President Lax, you said, no matter what we say, no one's going to believe us. Dr. Valesky has said in the past, whatever I say tonight, no one will believe me. What right do you guys have to hide the truth? Even tonight, Dr. Valesky, you apologize for the high school situation, not for the screw up. This transparent board loves to hide stuff in closed session. February 1st and February 15th closed session. If this is a transparent board, when are you going to release the minutes to the public? Because I wish I could say what they were hiding in those 2 meetings. Yeah, you've approved them, you haven't released the minutes. So President Lax, Dr. Valesky, you've stated in your own words that you've kept the truth from the residents. It's time for the outsider, Dr. Valesky, to resign.
15 seconds.
It's time for the board to remove President Lax and appoint someone else. And November 5th is the time to begin replacing the entire board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sismar. Would you like to speak? If you could state your name and address, please, for the record.
Alex Phelan, 6 Douglas Road. First of all, good evening. It's been a while since I've been to a school board meeting, and I see a lot of people I know I was seeing when I ran in 22. And it's unfortunate that I've had to come here as I've heard about all the fiascos that have happened within the last few months. And hearing what the displeasure of this public is, whether it's the issues with the budget, what is the issues within the schools themselves, or the yearbook, etc. And the response from this board and the executives have, in my opinion, have been unsatisfactory. I believe we need a more prompt and, at the same time, a much more final response for this situation. I think in this situation, a recall is necessary for board members who allow these things to happen. Because let's be honest, waiting till November is not going to change anything at the end of the day. Because some board members are here for more than just November. They may be here for 25, 26, and that means you're letting them there for another 2 extra school years. So I'm fortunate that I have to mention that, but I'm sick and tired of hearing the public going nuclear because their voices are unheard. Their fears are being realized, and at the same time, nothing is actually being done. Empty promises, and at the same time, half-truths and whole lies. And I'm sorry, once again, but this is the truth. It's the honest truth. The truth will set you free. And unless we have closure in this situation, it's going to go on for the foreseeable future. Thank you, and good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Spielman. If you could please state your name and address for the record.
Jeff Winston, 44 Fresh Ponds Road, East Brunswick. Ms. Lafani, I've read the report. I'm going to ruin the ending. It's not surprising that this was a better than the original, the sequel of It's Not My Fault, the yearbook days. Nice job, Dr. Valesky. Your friend did well for you. Who inserted the part in that the superintendent acted appropriately? While the Board of Ed refuses to establish any expectations for outsider Valesky's role, the public has clear expectations. Public servant Valesky's inability to manage crisis and only increased chaos is extensive. Let's discuss 3 opportunities where outsider Valesky is struck out. Strike 1. A couple of years ago, a fight, 2 female students, a hijab came off the female student's head. Dr. Valesky knew that day that it was not a bias attack. He knows that because there was video evidence. 4 hours of angry residents demanding explanation at the Board of Ed meeting. Explanation 2 weeks later, so he let that steam. Later, when an officer reported the findings, public accepts the outcome, and the issue calms down. Strike 2. November 30th, 2023 BOE meeting during the superintendent report displays a picture of the Beijing National Day School in China visiting our school. 15 individuals in that picture do not have stickers on them. All toured East Brunswick schools during the regular school day, he said proudly. Our methods and practices were disclosed. In closed session, I asked Dr. Valesky who were the unvetted people, and he yelled at me so loudly that the public heard him through the door. I don't know who they are. What do you want me to do, Mr. Winston? Head of school security wasn't aware of the visit. No discipline to the administrator who held the door open to circumvent security. Public servant Valesky called that a teaching moment. Strike 3. Community aware of the yearbook issue. Board meeting on the 6th. Voices of concerned students heard in a public session. They're frightened and feeling threatened. The report did let us know that Dr. Valesky and his wife, they were scared. I guess they got some phone calls. Victor Valesky says he will retain an independent investigator. Hired friend of the board attorney who sat in this chamber as legal counsel at board meetings. June 6th, Valesky, unwilling and unable to say what happened in the public. 18 hours later, published in People magazine exactly the findings of this report in People before the public. Withheld knowledge for 18 hours. Valesky runs out the clock on the investigation, results, and answers it finally a report no different than the one he had prior. Bernie allegedly tells his staff, don't worry, it'll blow over. Tells the board the same thing. Conveniently included in the incident summary report that the superintendent acted properly. Instead of bringing calm, he escalated chaos. I'm going to go on. Independent counsel paints the most unlikely scenario that would rival any conspiracy theorist. We are East Brunswick, and we demand answers from this board and accountability. Take back EB schools on Facebook. We will replace the 4 incumbents.
Thank you, Mr. Winston.
We will replace the 4. I'm going to finish.
Thank you. No, Mr. Winston, thank you. Mr. Winston, thank you.
At the upcoming election.
Mr. Winston,
please be aware,
thank you.
Take back EB schools.
Mr. Winston, thank you. If you could please state your name and address for the record.
My whole address?
I'm sorry?
Beth Hoffman, my whole address?
Can you come at least the street?
Beth Hoffman, East Brunswick, New Jersey. I am outraged and has been since the last board meeting when Jewish students got up one after the other and discussed what the atmosphere has been like at East Brunswick High School, especially since October 7th. There has been so much bullying and harassment and anti-Semitism going on, and although these students reported the hateful acts to staff, nothing was done. I would like to know if there have been any consequences to the staff that did nothing with these complaints, or to the principal that allowed this environment to fester. Now you expect us to believe that this whole yearbook fiasco was an accident. I question whether this independent law firm is truly independent. Obviously, we don't want to make East Brunswick look bad, and I just have to wonder about these results. There's so many steps to finalizing a page, as was explained in the investigator's report. So many eyes get to see it. It is unbelievable to me that it could possibly be an accident, especially since there has been so many incidences throughout our country of similar occurrences in yearbooks. As unbelievable as your report was, the other incident in New Jersey this week, where the picture of Anne Frank was placed in a yearbook with an expression saying, "You found me," was also explained by the district as a non-malicious event. No maliciousness intended. That is also beyond belief. Just seems like these things are getting swept under the carpet. Yes, okay. Let me see. So I am wondering if the students that spoke up last week that had all this harassment and felt uncomfortable at the high school, if they were sought out and if they asked who did all this bullying and this hateful acts to them, and if there's been any consequences to them. I'd also like to know if there's any consequences to the staff that allowed this hateful environment to fester, including the principal of the high school. And I understand there was a speaker last week that had, I think, a son in Churchill that also had some horrible incidents happen. So I hope that you could address that. And I just hope that you will, classes, spending money on classes, kids might not listen and everything, but it would be much more meaningful if people directly that are involved in teaching our children take a stand on what's right. There's so many people in this.
15 seconds.
Okay. I just hope that our district could start doing what's right and be a role model, because we have so much diversity. It would be really nice to be a role model of how people can get along. And it's not going to just happen with the class. It's got to happen with the staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hoffman. Hi, if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Dr. Jamie Falco, 11 Taft. Good evening, friends, neighbors, and Board of Ed members. You can relax. I'm not here tonight to talk numbers or flex my math skills. Hey, Tom Guy, I got you. Don't worry. I actually want to thank the board for your work this year. Despite recent disappointments, I acknowledge and appreciate that you have given your time and attention to our most important resource, our children, the future. That being said, this community and our children are in pain. The yearbook debacle exposed a lot of trauma that was previously ignored. The external report released yesterday does nothing to fix the underlying culture issues. If anything, this report highlights the lack of resources and the top-down lack of accountability that exists in this district. The yearbook advisor is accountable, yes, but she was failed by the system. The report casts very little culpability on anyone except her. It's interesting to note the inconsistencies between the yearbook advisor's statement and the interim principal's statement. They may or may not have reviewed the yearbook together. It's also astonishing that the report reads a proclamation of absolution for some involved. My heart's beating hard, guys. I'm a little shook. Point 4, page 14 reads, I find that redacted name conducted himself appropriately during the process. I disagree. Appropriate would have been thoughtful responses addressing both the Jewish and Muslim communities simultaneously, not knee-jerk reactions. Additionally, the report states on page 13 that redacted names spoke with national media outlets ABC, NBC, and CBS following the meeting with the yearbook advisor. June 7th, however, Rebecca Eisen of People magazine online published quotes from redacted name and stated that he spoke with her. People is owned by Meredith, a subsidiary of IAC, has no affiliation with NBC, ABC, or CBS. There is a discrepancy in this report. What other discrepancies may exist, I don't know, but now I'm concerned. The members of this community are concerned. The release of this report allows you to wash your hands now, but it doesn't change the culture. And come September, these kids deserve better. Call upon you to do better for this community. Please and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Falco. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the board this evening? Okay, then I'm going to close the public portion, move on to the agenda items. There will be follow-up. You know, it's not an easy job to sit up here in any of these seats, but I have to clear up a couple of things. I see Mr. Winston, you're stopping to hear this, so this is for you, so yes. It's very easy. It's very easy to take pot shots at people and the way that they do things. The reality for the board is that
you're gonna need security. I didn't threaten you.
No, he
Sir,
said me.
you're out of order. I'm out of order. You're out of order. You're out of order. Sir,
Yes,
stop
in this
now or
case
you're
I
gonna
am,
be
sir.
removed.
This has been a very hard time for this community, and instead of people coming together, you've had people, predators out there, that have used people's pain to try and throw stones and to make issues out of things that didn't need to be. Dr. Falco, and I'm using your name and I apologize, to your point, you're right. We had a lot of press that went on in this town surrounding this issue, but the unfortunate truth is nobody up here called the press. We did not invite the press during our budget crisis, during the yearbook crisis, during any crisis. Other people called the press for attention, and we had no choice but to answer questions. Dr. Valesky had no choice but to answer. So you can come here, and I'm not speaking to you again, my apologies. People can come here and you can criticize the board, you can criticize Dr. Valesky, but the reality is we have worked. Whether you disagree with what we are doing or how we are doing it, I assure you that we are up here and we are in meetings for a very long time trying to figure out how to get through these situations. And people that chose not to be part of the solution, but instead to try and use people's pain to make things better for themselves, to come up here, you're all in a really great position because when you're at that microphone, you can say whatever you want for 3 minutes to the board. We can't answer back. We can't defend ourselves. Dr. Valesky can't defend himself. There's a lot that's gone on in this community, but I can tell you that this man is working his behind off. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to use bad language. He is not an outsider. This is a man for over a decade that people loved his snow messages and people talked about how great he was. And the kids, my own kids, I remember in elementary school, loved when he came. He was a celebrity. And you know what? Yes, I've heard from some of the people that have spoke at these meetings that you're unhappy with certain things, but I don't know if you realize that I've had a lot more positive feedback. Hey, hang in there. It's really tough. Dr. Valesky, you're doing a good job. You are appreciated in this district. And people that have axes to grind and personal issues, and that's what a lot of it is. And when you're not on the board, you can say whatever you want and then walk out the door. Mic drop. That's wonderful. After you've stirred a lot up. People don't believe it, and I made the comment that you wouldn't believe me. But you know, the reality is you're already predestined not to believe anything we say. We bring in an outside investigator. And instead of saying, you brought in an outside investigator, we're told he's a friend of the attorney. Well, I don't know how many of you are in businesses where generally you use and give referrals to people that you know the quality of their work. So most of the board members up here do not remember because they weren't here with Mr. Brisman. I was. I don't know him that well. He did substitute for Mr. Jacoby, and I found him to be a credible attorney. He was competent, good at his job, and if Mr. Jacoby, as our board attorney, said that this is the man to do the outside investigation because I trust his work ethic, I trust the work product, then we're supposed to say, no, I'm sorry because you had a prior relationship with him. Most people hire people that they know. You want somebody, you ask for referrals. When you go to hire someone to work on your house, when you go to get a doctor, you want referrals. So I apologize because at this point, no matter what is said up here, there's going to be someone that's going to attack it. No matter what good we try to do, somebody is going to attack it. And there are real issues. And for Dom and for your dad, I do truly apologize that I don't have the answer that I had every intention of having by now. I really did. And the last couple of weeks, I didn't get the answer. And I don't know, and we always say this and no one believes us, I have a full-time job, I have a family. We all work. This is a volunteer position. So we do the best that we can with what we are given. We truly care about these kids. I've given over a decade of my life for these kids. So when I hear pain from our students, and it doesn't matter if it's 1 or if it's 8,000, I take it seriously and I go out of my way to make sure that I can do everything in my power to make it better. But if you come here and you make us the enemy, we're never, ever going to make things better because we can talk about, acceptance and the beautiful diversity and how we can get the kids to work together and not bully each other in the school halls. But how do we do it when we as adults try to throw stones and bully each other? I don't know the answer to that. But at some point, if you stop fighting and we try and work together, there's a lot of ways for people to work together in this community with the board, with Dr. Valesky. But I'm tired of hearing accusations about this man being an outsider or that this man is bad for this district. Go talk to the kids. Go ask the kids that walk those halls because most of those kids love it when he shows up in their schools. He's there for every activity, every EB day, all these things. And you know what? They all come over, and I've been at a lot of events with him, and they're running to take pictures with him. So I don't think that he is failing our kids. I think that the people that are coming and trying to take somebody else's pain and make it their 15 minutes and pull the press in, those are the ones that are hurting our kids. So that's all. I just, I'm sorry. But it had to be said, and so I will move on to our agenda for this evening. Yes, please, sorry.
On the agenda, I just want to call attention to the HR addendum number 1. It's on the, in the agenda that's on the dais for you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Crutchfield. Then I am going to ask for, we do not have the Board of Education, so curriculum and instruction. There are 2 items this evening on tonight's agenda. May I have a motion, please? May I have a motion? Moved by Mrs. Goss.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Herrick. And here is a perfect example, our dual enrollment program. This is the second year, Dr. Valesky, that we had graduates?
Second year.
Second
yes.
year. We had graduates from our high school that graduated with not just a high school diploma, but an associate's degree. This was a program that you brought very soon after you took on the superintendency, correct?
We expanded it, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have students in the queue that will graduate in the next couple of years with associate degrees.
Thanks to your vision, so thank you for that. Is there any discussion, any other discussion on curriculum and instruction?
Yes, I actually
Mrs.
just have a
Herrick?
question
Yep.
for Dr. Boldy. If you could just clarify the cost of the classes. The three credit course is $135. Is that per credit or total?
That's for the class.
For the
entire.
class. Wow, that's really an amazing savings because I actually, once we had gone through this, I looked it up, and for per credit for Middlesex County College, it's currently $198 going into the fall semester. So being able to save our students and our families money by allowing them to take college credits in high school, and a 3-credit course is $135. I think that's very substantial. So, okay, thank you.
Excellent point. Mrs. Gloss and Mr. Hung?
I just wanted to reiterate or echo what my fellow board members are saying. My son graduated last spring and very much enjoyed his first semester of college because he knew going into college he went in as a second semester freshman. Not that he planned. I mean, he wasn't trying to do a full associate's. Not that he planned. He took courses that he was interested in, but between the AP classes and dual enrollment, he was already a full semester ahead when he got there, which is actually going to help him work on a master's degree earlier. So this program is really fantastic for all of our students, even unintentionally.
And if I could, I want to give acknowledgement to all the teachers, too, that this program wouldn't be possible without all of our high school teachers who have the dual enrollment certification. They're reviewed by Middlesex College, and so we have a lot of talented, smart people, and our students are having the advantage of that experience in high school, and we're very thankful for all of them.
Absolutely. Mr. Hung?
So I just urge parents or high school students take advantage of this dual enrollment program. So now in college, the tuition is way too high for average income families. So if you take advantage of this program, you actually save yourself a lot of student loan, save your parents hundreds of thousands of dollars. So please take advantage of this program. It helps us, help you. I'm thinking my children, I have 3 children, so that will save me tons of money. And the second question is Dr. Bully. So would you please explain some about this language instruction education program 3 years plan to the public? The first one. The 3 years plan. So
I'm sorry, Mr. Hong, can you clarify?
Number 1.
that's the number 1. Yeah.
Oh.
Can you provide some details
Yes,
about
this
this
3-year
plan?
plan
Yes.
is required for us to submit for the district on behalf of the ESL program to ensure compliance with state and federal guidelines. So we have submitted this plan for your approval this evening.
So in this plan, so what will the East Brunswick School District do to satisfy this required plan? So what are you going to do something, or what kind of special thing you are going to do for this plan?
We are continuing in our manner that we have all these years with providing our ESL services to the students who are eligible and qualify in compliance with class size, the length and duration of the services provided, et cetera. So we're just certifying with the state that we are doing everything that is required.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Reese?
And not, just to add to what we said about the dual enrollment, there also are some new courses, if I'm correct, on the list, because we did not have elementary Chinese 1, elementary Chinese 2 is dual enrollment, correct? Am I saying, I just want to confirm that. Yeah, so that's an amazing addition. I too, my son has graduated. He got something like 19, I don't even know, it was like over a semester and a half of credit through the dual enrollment program. So I thank you for the district for this. And now they're expanding. I don't think we had computer applications and systems at that time either. We had mainly, the main type of English comp and, those kind of classes, but now it's expanded into other areas and languages as well. So that would be something for, families to look into. But I think that not everybody takes AP. It is rigorous, and we do have a lot of students who took AP and they do very well. But for students who may not be able to do AP for a variety of reasons, dual enrollment is very cost-effective, and I can tell you as a parent, similar to what Ms. Guas has said, this is $135 a credit. You're talking about even at Rutgers, and it's, again, a state school, so it's a decent price, but it's many-fold more expensive than the $135 a credit here. So, and actually, it's not even a credit. I don't want to say the wrong thing. The 3-credit course is $135. So I urge you to take advantage of it, like Mr. Hong said as well. It's definitely important. Thank you.
And I just wanted, Dr. Bolley, I don't know, if there's a lab included, that's included in the $135 as well, right? Up to 4 credits if there's a lab.
I believe it is.
So I think that's an even better deal, yeah.
Great deal. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We have one item this evening, facilities. If I can have a motion, please.
Motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Herrick. Second by Mrs. Gouache. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We have 16 items this evening on financial services. May I please have a motion?
Motion.
Moved by Mrs. Herrick. Second by Mrs. Gouache. Is there any discussion on any of the 16 items this evening on financial services? Is that your hand, Mr. Cummings?
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, start us off.
Yeah, I was just going to say, sorry about that. For the effective school solutions, it's a heavy contract and certainly one that we should, be investing in. I'm glad to see that there. The language in here, I don't think gives a full perspective as to the additional services that are offered. So I'm really glad to hear that, there's supplemental services to the care that's being put towards our students and our school community as a whole. So, we know that mental health and wellness are huge topics that will continue to encircle us and collectively it's on all of us to do better there. So I'm just, want to continue to reiterate that message and concern at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings. Okay, this is a roll call vote, so will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Cummings.
Yes.
Mr. Goswami. Yes. Ms. Gouache.
Yes.
Mrs. Herrick.
Yes.
Mr. Hung.
Yes.
Dr. James. Mrs. Reese.
Yes.
President Lax.
Yes, motion carries. We have 3 items this evening under Human Resources. May I please have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Gouache, second by Mrs. Herrick. Is there any discussion? Okay, this also is a roll call. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Cummings.
Yes.
Mr. Goswami.
Yes.
Ms. Gouache.
Yes.
Mrs. Herrick.
Yes.
Mr. Hung.
Yes.
Dr. James. Mrs. Reese.
Yes.
President Lax.
Yes, motion carries. We have one item this evening under staff development. May I please have a motion for that?
So, oh, go ahead.
Moved by Mrs. Herrick, second by Mrs. Gouache, my dynamic duo this evening. Is there any discussion on staff development? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We have 5 items this evening. May I please have a motion for student services 1 through 5?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs.
Second.
Gouache, second by Mrs. Herrick. Like they take turns, good friends. Okay, is there any discussion on student services this evening? Okay, this is also a roll call, so will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Cummings.
Yes.
Mr. Goswami.
Yes.
Ms. Gouache.
Yes.
Mrs. Herrick.
Yes.
Mr. Hung.
Yes.
Dr. James. Mrs. Reese.
Yes.
President Lax.
Yes, motion carries. And last but not least, we have one item under transportation services this evening. Looking at my girls.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Quaz, second by Mrs. Herrick. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Bringing us to committee reports, information items, and for the good of the cause for the board. Okay, Mrs. Quaz.
Well, for the good of the cause, I would really like to give my congratulations to Memorial School for planning the book swap. My 6-year-old was so excited, and the comments of the kids coming out of the school, I mean, if you've been in an elementary school, you know the big deal that the Scholastic Book Fair is. It's a big deal. And the comment that I kept hearing was, this was better than the book fair, which is amazing because the book fair is big stuff. But we are now the proud owners of 3 new Dogman books, which we are really excited about. And we were able to send in a book that, truthfully, Madison did not want because the girl was not polite in the book. She said that one could go. But it was just such a great use of, and we all have overflowing shelves if we're lucky, and it was such a great way to get the kids excited about reading. And the staff put a huge amount of work into organizing the books. It wasn't random. They were divided, grade level, genre. It was just a really cool event. And I also wanted to thank, on, I guess, a personal note, the number of parents. First, congratulations to the graduates. Graduation was beautiful. It is one of our favorite times of year. And I wanted to thank the parents that reached out to say how beautiful graduation was for them. It's nice when people take the time to say that these things were meaningful or what it meant to their children or just how they felt about it. People spoke very specifically about your speech, Ms. Lax. And I just wanted to say we appreciate the positive calls. It is an honor to sit up there and award diplomas, but it is a greater joy to talk to people about how they feel about their students graduating. So thank you.
Yes, we do love graduation. Although it's bittersweet, you'll notice that Chris's chair is empty. We'll have Rishi in the fall. Chris is leaving us for Princeton. I know I say it, but you can't say it enough when you have a kid that just does that well. Right. So, yes, I love graduation as well. And speaking of graduation, we do have a parent of one of the graduates. Look at the beaming. See, I love it. That's the smile. And that's what Heather is talking about, all the parents that look like that the other day when they watched their graduates.
I just wanted to say thank you to the district, to the high school. I mean, with a lot of series of beautiful events. We had a lot of senior award ceremonies, both for athletics, for academics. The prom was beautiful. The graduation ceremony was well run, and it was very memorable. The speeches were very memorable. The actual ceremony went very smoothly. It's a large operation to run something like that, and I am a proud parent of one of the graduates. So there's a Yiddish phrase, shepping nachas. I'm shepping a little nachas today for her, and I just want to say that you know, I'm very proud of our students. It has been a difficult time for them, and they've overcome a lot of obstacles, and it is our job as a board and as a district to make things better for them, and that's our goal. And if there can be any silver lining out of everything that has happened, is that we will continue to strive to make sure that there is an educational component from this going forward to help the students, to help the teachers and the parents navigate through these type of experiences. But I just want to wish good luck to the 2024 graduates, and it was a very proud moment. It was an honor for me always to hand out diplomas to the students, but it was a special honor to hand it to my daughter, and I just thank you for, you know, giving me this opportunity to do that and to say thank you and to give lots of luck to all. We have wonderful graduates going to many fine institutions and looking to very bright futures. Thank you.
We do, and for the students that are going to be coming back in the fall, I'm going to give a plug for your Student Life Committee. We do hear from a lot of people in the community, and some of the people that have spoke here, you might want to consider reaching out and being a part of the Student Life Committee. Absolutely.
So, you know, with everything that has happened, it's been a little slower to start, but over the summer, we're going to make effort to do that. We're trying to put together a committee. Basically, it was born out of the concept of trying to improve the quality of life of the students throughout the district. Issues come that are outside of the usual realm, may not fit in any particular category. And then, you know, obviously with what has been going on in the last couple of months, that's going to be handled as well through the district. But there are quality of life issues that, having been a parent of 2 students who went through the school system, that we were noticing. So we're going to try to include, and if you know, maybe you could talk to, can I mention to Karen?
Mm-hmm.
Hi,
Absolutely.
Karen. Hi. And Janet, thank you so much for everything you do. So if you're here tonight and you have an interest, we're trying to put together a committee that will include members of the community from different areas. So whether it be parents, whether it be clergy council, whether it be all different areas, and we're still forming that. So we were in the process of doing that this spring. So I'm hopeful to give you more details over the summer when we have more time to flesh it out more. But our purpose is to make student life better for the kids, to listen to the kids. Obviously, we'll have students on the committee from different age groups depending upon the issue, so that we can hear from them firsthand what their concerns are, how can we address them. There's some issues just in their daily school lives that we may not be aware of if you don't have a kid currently in the system. So it's important to hear from them as well, and from the teachers and so forth. We do this systematically in different areas, but to have one place to do that. So did I make sense?
You did. Thank you, Mrs. Reese.
Okay, thank you.
Much appreciated. Okay. Well, yes, Mr. Cummings at the buzzer?
Yeah, sneaking in.
Always make time for you.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts going on in my head, you know, and certainly these past several months have been really complicated for the community as a whole. This has been a really wild experience being a part of this group, and a real privilege that I certainly recognize. If you had told me, however, you know, 10 months ago, hey, this is coming, I don't know if I would have run for this seat in some ways. With that being said, I have witnessed some incredible acts of heroism and compassion and intelligence and inspirational behavior on the part of so many people throughout this community. That isn't just entirely moving, and makes me grateful to have the opportunity to be here. For those of you who know, my whole life I've dedicated to social services and to trying to strengthen communities, which has been difficult at times, and has allowed me the privilege of traveling to various parts of the world and being with very marginalized populations and dealing with very complicated human behavior. So I'm kind of used to it in some ways. My wife and I have 3 kids in the district. One will be in 3rd grade, one will be in 7th, and 6th, and one will be in 8th next year. And they all have their own sort of unique, personalities, as they should. On Tuesday, I went and picked up my daughter, the one who will be going up to 3rd grade next year, and watched her hold her teacher because she didn't want to say goodbye. And I watched other students playing and parents laughing, and witnessed an abundance of goodness that is happening here routinely. My boys, of course, are older and wanted to get into summer break. I don't blame them. I would have done the same thing at that age. But we've had issues with them in the past as students, and we have received a response when trying to deal with those that has been appropriate and professional. There is always room for improvement, and there is room for improvement here as a human institution. And I know that we can do better. But I am grateful to be a part of this community and honored to try to help shape that over the course of the next 2 years or the rest of my term. So I just wanted to share those thoughts and thank every member who has helped to support the well-being and the richness of our kids throughout the district.
Very well said. Thank you. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mrs. Goss, second by Mrs. Herrick. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.